So today we plan to revise the aggregate functions along with the group by clause and the having clause. Okay, so it's like the major portion of your select command which we did in class 12th. That's what we practice today and complete that part, right? Now, first and foremost are the, till yesterday we did the single row commands, single row functions. So today I quickly thought of taking up the aggregate functions also once, and then we proceed with the group by. Because with group by, majorly the queries are including the aggregate functions. Okay, so that is why it's supposed to be understood, then only I can apply it together, right? So in the case of aggregate functions, we know that we have these 5 functions: max, min, average, sum, count. Okay, and majorly all these 5, rather all the first 4 will work on numbers majorly, right? Max also, min also, average also, sum also, definitely on numbers. But the peculiarity with max and min is that it is able to work with dates also. If I want the earliest date, okay, I'll go for the min function. If I want the nearest date, that is the latest date from the field which is storing dates, maybe date of birth, maybe date of join, maybe date of purchase, maybe date of selling, whatever. So if I'm saying min, out of that dates value, it will give me the earliest date, सबसे पुराना date. Okay, and if I'm saying max, out of those date values, it will give me the latest date. जो as per current date के हिसाब से जो सबसे nearest है उसके, that will give. Okay, this is something to be kept in mind. Obviously, when you apply it to normal numeric values, then it is not a trouble. When I go for average, we have to keep in mind that suppose, like if I show you this table, you can see this item table. So I'm talking about average of quantity. Okay. Now I'm not giving any where conditions. I'm just saying select average of quantity. Now when it's going to do the calculation for average, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 entries out of 11 records. You can see there are 11 records, right? So out of 11 records, 10 records are counted, added, and we get a summation. Okay, whatever the value is. Now that value needs to be divided by 10 and not 11, because number of entries which were considered for addition, the summation, were 10. 1 was null. So average, when you, for the average function, when you pick up the dividing factor, how many entries, then it is always the number of non-null entries. Okay, that's something to be remembered about average. Coming down to sum, that's straight cut. It's going to add up the values. The null values obviously cannot add up. One more thing which needs to be kept in mind is regarding the peculiarities regarding the count function. Let me see if I've added some examples also. Yeah, like here first, some points to remember. I've given the max and the min function applied to dates. Okay, that we have revised. Then comes the average and count peculiarities. Now see, this is a small table, so here you can easily quickly do the calculations also. Employee number, name and salary. Okay, now when I say average salary, I would be 50,000 plus 20,000 plus 0 divided by 3. 3, because I've considered 3 entries. So 0 is a valid entry. It will be considered, it will be counted, it will be taken up as an entry, but not null. Okay, so 50 plus 20 plus 0 divided by 3. Okay, that will be the logic for your average salary. It will not be dividing by 4, but dividing by 3. Correct? Now talking about the min salary, of course, it will be 0 in this case. So 0 is considered as a proper value. Max will be 50,000. Okay. When I apply count star, count can take either star as the argument or can take any field as the argument, this function, right? So if it takes star, then in that case, it is going to just count the number of records. Okay, now number of records means this is one record, this is second record, this is third record, and this is fourth record. Even if one record is completely null, starting from first field to the last field, then also it is a record for it. Okay, all values are null, so that record will be ignored. No, even if all the field values are null for a record, that is considered as a record. Okay, so count star will count that data on that record. Okay, complete record. So it's like entries. Number one, then you have number two, then you have number three, and then you have number four. So count star will always give you the number of records. उसके अंदर क्या data है, it is not really bothered about that. Okay, but when you apply the count function to any field, you can see here that there are two examples I've taken up. One is nth number, one is salary. Okay, nth number has no null values. Hence, the output of count star and count nth number is same. मतलब m number में if I am trying to apply the count to a particular field, it is going to count the number of non-null entries in that. So in the mth number, I have one entry as first one, then second one, then third one, and then fourth one. 4 entries are there. So count of mth number is 4. But when I move down to the salary field, I see that there's one null entry and there are 3 values. Even if it is a 0, it is a value for the system. Okay, so when I apply count salary, my output is 3. 1, 2, and 3. Null is not counted. These are the very typical areas where errors and output and difference and some question like even this, which is one of the CBSE paper questions itself, that these two commands are being used. Okay, can the output be different? That is something is being asked as a question here. When can these queries answers be different? The answers can be different if you have a particular command as, entry as null. This is a CBSE question where it gave you 2 queries and said, can these 2 queries have different output? And why would the result be differing? But then you have to say that tele field must be having null entries. That is why the count is different. Otherwise, count star and count of any particular field name should match. Like in this table, which you can see here, if I'm saying select count star from item, okay, it's 11. If I say select count SC from item, then also it is 11. If I say count INAME, then also it is 11. Because INAME also doesn't have any null, right? But if I say count quantity, I think quantity has one null value, so it should be 10. Quantity or cost. Yeah, quantity has one null value. Okay, so that is what they are trying to catch in this question. That why, how can it be different? So this is how you have to put the explanation. So this kind of a question can also be there. Okay, that's majorly about your aggregate functions and the tricky questions which can be there out of that. Now we move on to the next part of it, that is the group by clause along with the having clause of select command. Okay, now as we look through the select command format, we find that you have select name of fields separated by commas from table name, where condition, order by group, order by field name, group by field name, and having condition. Okay, why is having somewhat little smaller and put inside group by? It is a symbolic thing, just to tell you that having can only come when group by has been applied. That's point number 1. Having can only come when group by has been applied. Order by is optional, it can come independently. Where is optional, it can come independently. From is compulsory. If you don't give from, the query doesn't execute. If you don't give either star or field names or a single field name, the query doesn't work. Okay, So select something from table name is a compulsory part of the select command. After that, where is to filter records, optional. Order by is to arrange the data in ascending or descending, that's optional. Group by and having is also optional, but having can come only when group by has been applied. You just can't have select from table name having this condition. No, if it is condition to be applied without group by, what will I use? Where. See, both are conditions. This is also condition, this is also condition, meant to filter records. But without group by, if you want to put condition on your records, it has to be with where and not with having. Difference between where and having can also be asked in the exam. Okay, so a few points which I've written down here. Compulsory clause of select command is from clause. Having clause can only be used if we have used group by. Use of having clause is not compulsory if I use the group by clause. Okay, for having group by is compulsory, but for group by having is not compulsory. It's like after the group by has been done, whatever is the output, on that output, if you want to put a filter, if you want to put a condition, then only I'm going to apply the having, otherwise no. Okay, now what is group by actually? Okay, before I get down to this particular thing, let's take up an example which I think you can correlate, though you're not going to school for a long time. It's like somebody enters your class and says that group according to your houses. Arrange yourself according to your houses. So 8 houses, I should have 8 groups. Okay. And then on those 8 groups, I want to apply a count. How many per group? I want to pick up the maximum height wala person per group. I want to pick up the minimum height wala person per group. Or I want to do anything with that. That's my wish. Okay, but first is grouping is actually based on a particular field's value. I tend to aggregate the data. Like if I am saying group by, like I have a table which has student name and other details along with houses. So Namrata, Prem, Anand house, like that records are there, right? So now obviously there'll be repeated values there, right? So that we have 40 students, so it could be like 8 in Namrata house, 4 in Anand house, 7 in Prem house, like that. Generally they are equal, but I'm just giving an example. So that is why there will be repeated entries also. So when I ask him to group by on that table, on that field from that table, it just simply picks up the one instance per group. These are the groups available. Okay, let us try it out on this particular table which I have. And by doing so, we will also talk about that how does it differ at times with distinct. Okay, now just check out. I'm saying that I want to apply the group by on. Now here actually warranty we can apply the group by because warranty has repeated values, quantity has repeated values. If there is no repeated values in a field, then group kya karoge? Similar data hai nahi, hai na? Kar wo dega, there is no error in that, but doesn't make sense. Isn't it? Grouping tabhi possible hai when you have something common. Isn't it? If I say group by admission number, लॉजिकल है, सबका एडमिशन नंबर अलग अलग है, तो क्या ग्रुप बाय करेगा? सब अलग अलग जाके पढ़ेगा. Everybody is a group. Every individual person is a group technically, right? So group by is only applicable, logical in fields where you have repeated values. Otherwise, it is illogical. Okay. So if I'm supposedly saying select quantity from item by quantity itself. Okay. What should be the output? Come on. One entry per group. So 20, 10, 12.
Ma'am, all 20s should be in one and ma'am 10s in one.
Okay. But what will it show? He will group as per 20, 10, 13, 12, whatever. What will it show here?
Ma'am, quantity, like
Will it show all the quantities or it will only show the unique quantities? Let's see. That is the story which I wanted to share basically. That when you do only this much, group करके और उस field को display कर रहे हो, it is very similar to the output of distinct. Select distinct QTY. If I do it from item, I will just enlarge the screen so that you can see both the outputs along with the data. Can you see there is no difference in this in the output of select distinct and select group by? I mean select quantity with group by,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So that means doing only this much with group by is of no use. ठीक है, grouped it and then gave you one entry each. वो तो मैं distinct से भी देख सकती थी, है ना? So then what is the use? What will I try to do after, I mean with the group by, what exactly benefit will I get? I will get the benefit if I try to do something with that grouped data. Right? If I want to say, okay, how many 20s, how many 10s, how many 12s, how many nulls, how many 13s? Or out of all 20s, get me the maximum cost. Out of all 20s, get me the minimum quantity. Something. Right? Which I can't do with distinct. Distinct to ऐसे ही use होता है. It cannot be even used with some other field name or something. Distinct has to be like this itself. Just pick one entry each of every value from the field. That's the purpose of distinct. But group by का purpose ये नहीं है. Group by is not meant to just show you the distinct values. वो तो distinct से दिख जाएगा, right? Group by का purpose है that once I have done the grouping, then what I want to do? I want to do something with the data what he has grouped actually. And what is that? That is, I want to check out the number of entries per group. So select the quantity. Okay, count star. Technically, if I use this count star in the whole table, he will give me the count of all the records from the table. But now I'm asking him to please do that counting for every group. So the moment you apply that aggregate function in a query where you have used a group by clause, right? He will try to apply that function on every group. Whether it's count, whether it's max, whether it's min, whether it's sum, whether it's average. The moment you put this with a group by clause query, then this particular thing will be applicable for every group. And my work is done. If I want to know how many records are there in each group of quantity, I will get my answer. There are 4 records in the 20 group, 10 records, I mean 4 records in 10, 12 का एक है, null का एक है, 13 का एक है. Right? Not only that, I can say, acha, I want count also, I want max of cost also, I want min of cost also. You can do that. But here it will not apply to the whole set of records available in the table. He will apply it to the group. Okay. Display the maximum cost, minimum cost, and number of records in every group of quantity. Similar quantity data. Illogical sa query hai, but I'm just giving an example because here I can do it only on quantity and warranty. Am I clear with this, that why am I using aggregate function with group by? If not, then what's the output? If yes, then what exactly I'm trying to do?
Ma'am, if we do not use aggregate functions, then it would be like distinct.
Yes.
Distinct function.
Yes. If I do not use the aggregate function along with it, then the output is just similar to distinct. Distinct में I cannot do anything else. उसका purpose उतना ही है, but group by का purpose is definitely first to form the groups. But after that, there has to be a utility. Group में क्या करना है? And generally that क्या करना है is applicable to your aggregate functions. Okay. Now you have got an output, right? Now I tell him that give me those quantities where the maximum cost is more than 9,000. Listen to the query again. I'm saying give me those quantities where the maximum cost is more than 9,000. Okay. If you just tell him select quantity from table name where max cost is greater than 9,000. Okay. What happens? He goes to the table and searches for max brackets में cost नाम से कोई field which is not there. So where condition में whatever condition you are giving using whichever field names, those has to be field names. ठीक है. This is one more criteria to judge that इसमें group by clause लगेगा कि नहीं लगेगा. If you are trying to form a query and you find that in the where clause my condition is coming out to be with an aggregate function, then do not use the where clause there. Then you should know it is having. Having can let me use aggregate functions के साथ condition. अब अगर having use करना है तो group by भी होगा. Then तो right. Then you start thinking in regards to अच्छा group by है तो कैसे 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 किस चीज पे group by करने को बोल रहा हूँ. Okay, this is like a back calculation you can say by which you can make a decision because the questions will not be segregated ना कि ये group by के questions है ये without group by के questions है ये having के साथ group by वाले questions है in the paper. You have to read the query and decide whether to use a group by, whether not to use a group by, whether to use a group by with having or not to use a group by with having. Okay, now suppose I am saying select quantity max cost, the question which I was telling you, okay, from item, and let me show you what happens if I say where max cost is greater than 9,000. Invalid use of group function. So with the where clause, just keep that in mind. With the where clause, I cannot use a aggregate function expression in my condition. I cannot. Okay. So then what happens? I have to use a having here. If I have to use a having, I have to use a group by. Now, on what basis are you grouping the data? What is that criteria on which you're grouping the data? जिसके ऊपर you're applying max cost. You again read the question and then you say it says a quantity. For every quantity, give me the max cost. So that means quantity wise, I have grouped my data first. Right? So group by quantity. Now I will get what I want. As per this output, I had all the quantities. I'm too bad in this use of annotation. Anyway, I'll try to do better. Right? So there's 8,300 also, 10,000 also, 25,000 also, 7,200 also, null also. But the moment I put this condition after group by, then maximum cost jahan pe more than 9,000 hai, that is this one and this one are the two which are picked up. Right? Understood or not? That's all about group by and having. अगर ये समझ में आ गया, then my issue is resolved. Okay. Now let me take up some other table and ask you a few questions on that. And let's see whether you are able to make a judgment or not. Right? I just ask him to use. Okay, show me the tables in this database where I'm already working. And some other table. Charity. Let me see what's there in charity, so that I can just get some few more variety of data. Practice. No, it's very good. It's got less data in this. Okay, here I have something which I can try. Okay, now you tell me if I want to say number of students per remark, what will I do? How many students got average? How many students got good? How many students got fair? How many students got nothing? I want to have the number of students per project remark. Per project remark. remark wise count of students, whichever way they put the question, right? So I need to go and group my data as per the data available in the project underscore REM. So average वाले records को एक साथ करो, good वाले records को एक साथ करो, fair वाले records को एक साथ करो. Like that, he should do that thing first for me. So if I just say select project underscore REM from student group by project REM, I'm doing the same thing as distinct. Okay. So there are 4 entries: average, good, fair, and null. Now I tell him that please apply a count star on this output with group by. So then he will do every project remark by how many entries: 2 average, 2 good, 2 fair, 1 null. Oh, it's that systematic. Okay. Anyways, so this is how I get it. Okay. So whenever you have, when they give you output questions also, पहले check करो whether you have a group by or not. If it is a group by, then whatever field it is giving you, take a pencil and make groups. Like you can have, बहुत बड़ा data they will not give. You can put dots for one entry, tick mark for another, and circle the third one, or maybe put a square across a fourth one. Like that, you group, and then see what he is asking you to do here. Whether it's sum, count, average, max, min, whatever. Then on that data, in those groups, you will have to apply that to apply that and get the output. Okay. Now I'm telling you to do maximum physics marks per section. In every section, what is the maximum physics marks?
Ma'am, select. No, double S.
Right. Select.
Max PHY.
And max PHY.
From item. Sorry, from student.
Right.
Ma'am, group by section.
By section. This query is correct, but this will have one issue. Query is correct, you'll get the output also. Which section is 48, which section is 50, which section is null, and which section is 101.
So, ma'am, before max physics, we have to write like section.
Yes. So generally in the group by clause questions, whenever, even if this don't speak out in the question, display the section also. Always display the section. I mean, display the field on which you are doing the grouping, because otherwise the output is not understandable. So though it's not mentioned in the question, you will have to do it, because then only the answer is, or the output is logical to understand. The section A में maximum physics marks is 48, section C में 50 है. There's a section called as null, which is null, okay, and there's a section B which is what 101. Am I clear with this? Is it fine? What about others? Tanvi, Varun,
Yes, ma'am.
Manas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Muskan. Beta, this is very, very important. If I will take you through the sample paper now, let us open that sample paper and see that how many questions have they actually worked out on this part. And you'll be surprised to know. And it is not difficult. You just have to, peace of mind ke saath, you have to check out the thing. Just a second. I have it as, I'm not going by the marking scheme. Let's take out the question paper itself. Right? Few things of networking also we had checked. So that is done. Now, first question of SQL. See, power function and mod function. Power क्या करता है? This is the base of the power and this is the exponent of the power. So 5 to the power 3. Now 5 to the power 3 is what? Not 5 into 3. There's a difference. 5 into 3 will be 15. Ma'am,
it will be 3 times 5.
Ma'am,
Yes.
5 into 5 into 5.
5 into 5.
Correct. This is also something which needs to be kept in mind, that power agar use ho raha, it is not 5 into 3. It's 5 into 5 into 5. 5 5s are 25, 25 5s are 125. And obviously वो बहुत ज़्यादा मुश्किल नहीं देंगे इसमें, don't worry. ठीक है? That is something to be kept in mind. अच्छा, mod is for?
Ma'am, remainder. Ma'am,
Correct.
remainder आएगा 2 answer.
Yes, ma'am.
So 3 is my divisor and then 5 is my dividend. Oh God. And then 3 ones are 3, remainder 2. Like that. Okay? So first one in the bracket is what? Divisor or dividend? ये भी ध्यान रखना है. Sometimes it becomes very, very confusing. Okay? The first one is the dividend. And the second one is the divisor. हमेशा cross कर लिया. When you write it, na? First will 3 come, then bracket, then 5. Right? Simple. See, 1 mark each for the output of, you feel very bad agar ye galat ho jayega, because it's actually so simple. Okay. Round function. Chalo, bataiye. Round up to 3 decimal places. Where the question is galat lag raha, decimal tak to 2 hi hai. So what should be the output? What do you think?
Ma'am, it will be 8.73.
Why 7.3? I don't know what is the third element. Rather third भी क्या, if you want up to 3 decimal places, मुझे fourth वाला value देखना पड़ता है ना?
Yes,
To
ma'am.
round off the third one. तो इसमें तो I think it should be the same answer. Let us check it out. Select.
Ma'am, 8.72 should be answered.
हाँ, 8.72. So round, because उसमें there is no scope of change. ना? 8.72, 3. 3 है ही नहीं इसके अंदर, actually up to 3 digits. Oh, that's a change. 8.720. So if it is like more than the number of digits I have, those many zeros will be added. I got it right. A few things, even we miss out. Please note it down. If it is relevant to the number of digits available, like there are 2 digits and I'm saying please round it off till 1, then we'll go to the second digit. 2 hai less than 5 hai, so 8.7. Okay. If I say up to 2 digits, nothing to check as a third position, so same answer. If I say more than that, in that case, jitna more, so many zeros to be added. Great. Next one, 9.8. If the second argument is missing, then what did we learn? क्या हो जाता है? If the second argument is missing, then it works like normal maths का round off, पैसों का round off.
It will become 10.
It will, as per the question is 9.8 will be rounded off to 0 decimal places. So 0 decimal places के लिए after decimal, what do I have? I have more than 5. So this will be rounded off to the next digit, 10. अब मुझे यही चीज इस example में बताओ. Rounding off 8.72 will be?
It will be 9.
It will be 9. Round off up to 0 decimal places. इसका output and up to 0 decimal places के लिए comma 0 का output is same. Because this factor is my, this factor is my more than 5. That is why these are being transferred to 9. If I make this as 3 less than 5, then it remains 8. Okay? और वो 8 ही रहेगा even if this is 7. If I use truncate, इसमें भी वो कंफ्यूज कर सकता है आउटपुट देके. तो इसका आउटपुट अगर if I wanted 8, then should I use round or should I use truncate? ठीक है? So we have to keep the round will work as per the normal rounding off in terms of going to floor value and ceiling value, but truncate will not do going to the upper value story. Okay? So round truncate is supposed to be definitely there in the paper. So up next, RN, a database administrator, has grouped records of a table with the help of group by clause. Okay. He needs to further filter the groups of records generated through the group by clause. Generated through the group by clause. I want to filter. I want to select records. I want to take a selective section of the records from the output of the grouped records. What should you use?
Having.
Excellent. An example देना है, so just keep one table in mind, जिस पे you can show. For foreign key also, for this kind of things, no, always keep an example handy in your mind. Chota sa, koi bhi jisme repeated value. Like you can just take student and sections also. Student class section. Itna rakho. This pe you can give examples. Subjective paper hai, so you can expect examples to be written. Okay, so random, just losing marks for not writing an appropriate example will be very foolish. That is why just keep some example in mind and you can apply it on that. Okay, simple. Next one. HR manager. Yeah.
So ma'am, like for that example, we have to write the whole
You'll have to
query
write the
and everything.
table. Yes, yes, yes.
हम
So
query
the
वगैरह भी
first part,
like select.
see, you go by the question. The first part they are saying suggest the suitable clause for it. So first part of the answer you'll write the suitable clause for it is having clause. Okay, 1 mark you'll get. First part of the question done. Now for the another
Okay, ma'am.
part, properly explain its usage with the help of example. You'll have to make a small table like this, maybe 3 or 4 records, and then write the query and write the output. 1 mark ke liye zyada hai, but yes, that needs to be done. Okay. Now let's come to this part, and I think we can do that. We've done it today only. Tell me, max year of DOB. Max applied to year function applied to DOB. So DOB में से पहले year.
Ma'am, 2001.
2001.
Okay, everybody agrees. Tanvi also, Varun also.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Why 2001? Because max gives me the nearest date to my current year, which is 2001. If this would have been min, it would have been 1985. है ना, मिनिमम ईयर जाता. अगर ये ईयर पे नहीं सीधा डीओबी पे करते तो पूरा पूरा डेट आता. Okay. Now select E name from EMP where month of DOJ. So DOJ पे. Be careful, it's DOJ. 2 dates are there. So DOJ के field पे month function to be applied. It will extract the middle wala things, which is my month as per YYY.
Second wala record.
Okay, let us see where month is 11. So this is the 11th month, right? Uska I need E name, only one data, which is Melinda. Fine. Now, how do you write it in the paper? Just do not write Melinda. It doesn't convey a good message. Kahin pe chota mota error na, then they will not ignore. Give a proper heading, like a proper heading which comes, right? You'll write E name and then make those dotted lines and then write the name. Iska jaise heading aayega max year DOB, proper like this, and then write the output which the way SQL is going to show you. Okay. Based on the given table above, Som writes queries for the following task. Now this is or, so either that or this. Name of the eldest employee and his or her date of birth. So you again have to apply the max of eldest name. Eldest has to be minimum date. This is date of birth. Minimum date of birth to apply hoga and name of the person also will be taken into consideration. So there's one thing. I don't know why they have given this query. Technically, this kind of a query is done using the subqueries. It's not there in your syllabus. So that is why somebody was saying that the subqueries can put. I'll tell you the reason why. You should know that. As a cases, when always go and attempt the other one. What happens is when you try to do something like this. Let me see if I can show it to you in this example itself. If I'm saying this is my student table. Okay, now I'm telling you to get me the name of the person who is achieved maybe data. So let's apply this only. Name of the person who is eldest. Whatever, this is what data. Project submission. Name of the person who submitted it earliest. Right. So what I do is what comes naturally to me is I'll set a select name, comma, and you want the date also ki kab submit kiya tha. So I need the min of earliest. This is sabse pehle submit kiya. The min of date of submission, which is date of P from student. Okay. Now let's see what is my minimum date of submission here. Minimum date of submission is 2019, of course. 2019 में 20th November, 22nd November, 5th December. So 20th November. 20th November, and with that, it's giving me social. That's okay. Okay, in certain cases, this query will work. But technically, this query is something we used to do with a subquery, that, you know, this part of the query will return me the minimum date of thing from the table. And iska output I will use select name from student where DOP is equal to output of this. That's how we technically used to do this kind of queries. But I might be wrong because it's been a long time that I've not practiced the subqueries also. So I've not given a bracket yet. So I need to see it too. But that is how we used to do the subqueries. That there's one query which is inside minimum DOP, pick it up, and then use that DOP equal ke saath yahan pe. So select name from student where the DOP is this. Because if here you have multiple people having the same date of submission, your output is not going to give it to you. He'll just pick up the first record जो applicable होगा उस particular उस पे, it will show that particular name only. So technically this is not the correct way of doing it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show you that thing too. What's going wrong? Minimum DOP. So why are I giving this one? Sorry. Yeah. Right. So it's just that the subquery comes in its own bracket. And इसमें क्या होगा? This person will get me the minimum date of whatever submission है basically, right? So that date is extracted. Now उस date पे जिस बच्चे ने दिया, all those names will come. That's how this query should technically be done. But if I do it like this, the way I've done it here, because you don't know this process, you will also follow this process only. What happens is, it will pick up the minimum date and उस date के लिए जो first record applicable होगा उसका name उठा के दे देगा, right? Which is not the right way of doing it. So I don't expect they should be giving this kind of question. The same other thing also is the same thing.
Ma'am, this subquery thing is not there in our syllabus.
It's not there. So this kind of a question
Okay.
should not be given, because the way I'm doing it otherwise to get the output is not the correct way of doing it. It has to be with the subquery only. Okay. But anyway, if it comes and there is no choice, then you apply it the way I've told you. Simple, just strike करेगा आपको कि minimum date pick करो, उसको date को भी दिखा दो and साथ में name दिखा दो, right? So here we are assuming that there are no repeated entries with that date. Then the answer will be correct. Okay. So moving on to the next one quickly. These are the kind of queries coming up. In string में the data, if it is like giving you the query and you have to give the output, so you can easily make out that substring has been given. It is looking for a dot. It is looking for a dot. I'll just increase the zoom a little bit, that we can count easily. Now dot. There are two dots here. Which dot it will consider? The first occurrence of the dot, right? And position of that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11th position, the first dot is appearing. That's my output. Okay. Substring, starting position, and how many characters to be extracted from there. From the 7th position, you'll be extracted. So let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 say 4 characters. Yes. So beautifully it will extract CBSC. ठीक है? Left say 5. Leftmost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So in string may we give him what to search, he returns me the position. Substring may we give him positions, he returns me the substring, that is sub part of a string. Left, right, all of these, we give him the position, he returns me the part of the string. Okay. Now this is a question where he's applying the, I'm taking a little more time, don't worry, okay? So that tomorrow onwards, we can start with the small quizzes I want to just go through these questions as much as possible today itself. There's a table hotel. Structure is given. Last two characters from the user ID column. Last two characters will be given by which function? Last two characters. Now there are two ways of doing it again. You can use the write function also, or you can use the substring function also. No, you cannot use the substring function because you don't know the end position. है ना? Position मुझे नहीं पता. Because I can't.
So
see the
we'll use
data.
right only.
You have to use right only, no other option. Right? So if I'm like saying select data and I want the last two my data. So I'm saying give me the last two characters of my name, suppose, for every name. So I'll say select right to name पे apply करो, right? और कितने characters extract करो? 2 characters from the right side. ठीक है? From the table student. Now the question is, will it give me SH or will it give me HS?
SH.
SH. Though it counts from the right side, 1, then 2, but extraction is normal left to right only. Okay, so this is the query for this particular thing. Next query says display the values of name column in lowercase. Directly you can apply the L case or lower to the concerned field name. Display 3 characters from the third place from the column city. Third position say 3 characters from the column city. Now city I don't have, so let me apply it to my name itself. Which function to be used? बीच में से मुझे डेटा निकालना, कैसे निकालेंगे?
Ma'am, substring.
Substring or mid or substring complete. SUBSTRING. Okay, all are allowed. Mid देके घबरा मत जाना कि क्या है. I'm saying I want from here, that is my name में से third character onwards 3 character. Okay, from my table. So obviously your table name will be dependent on the question and accordingly you will write. Okay, now quickly moving further, function of now gives you the date and time both. How many parameters does it accept? Nothing. General format, you have to write the date format and the time format. Okay, leading and trailing blanks. I think I'm not reading the whole question. All sorts of spaces to be released, sorry. It is L trim, R trim for individual ones. Everything to be removed, it is trim. That is left and right both. But 3 mark question here. Just a second. While dealing with string data type in MySQL, it's observed that sometimes unnecessary space characters comes in between, which hamper the successful entry. Name the suitable functions to remove leading, trailing, and both. Achha, all 3 have to be given. So 1 marks for each. Leading means शुरुआत वाले, that's L trim. Trailing, R trim, both trim. Right? Add an example also and write the query too. Right? यहाँ पे तो उन्होंने query मांगा हुआ है, so you can give the query below. Let's move on further. Yes, this 4 marker will have your other things what we were talking about here today. Chalo, quickly. This is all about records in decreasing order. That's order by clause of price. So select star, because nothing is said what to display. So select star from table name stock. So from stock, order by price space DESC. Okay, simple straight. Now here it says category, दिखाओ, category wise total quantity of products. Category दिखाओ and category wise how many products. So IOK how many products, NWK how many products, OK how many products. So what should be the answer? What should be the answer?
Select stock.
Hey, stock is the table name.
हाँ मैं वही बता रहा हूँ, मतलब अच्छा sorry मैम, select Select category.
Yeah, select category.
हाँ मैम, select category comma quantity. Group from
Can
stock.
you from stock group by category?
Group by yes ma'am,
Category, right? Now the issue is it is saying total quantities. It is not saying individual quantities. IO का total quantity कैसे निकालेंगे?
तो मैम you have to apply sum.
Yes. So category followed by sum of quantity from stock group by stock. Okay. This is something, children, you have to analyze yourself, which will only come from practice of questions. This nobody can teach you as such, because question kuch bhi aa sakta hai. You cannot mug it up. You cannot memorize the answers. Category wise average price. Category and its average price. So every category wise, देखो इसमें भी कहीं पे group by कोई mention नहीं है. But as per the question, you have to analyze कि category के साथ वो average मांग रहा है, so it has to be category wise. IO पे average price क्या है, NW पे average price क्या है, O पे average price क्या है. So again, select category, comma, AVG price from stock group by category. Another one, category wise highest price of products. For every category, I need the highest price. So IO ka highest price 450, NW ka 3000, O ka 17,000. Again, group by, and here I'll be using the max price with category. Are you getting my point? This is all about using of functions. There is no group by clause used in this output set of questions, right? And then you have the networking part. So there's one question only they have given. So you can say 4 queries, 3 queries, 3 marks from this part. Okay. It is just analysis. You have to understand the query, and based on that, think what is the logical output for it. For output ke basis pe only your decision will be there, whether I have to use a group by or whether I don't have to use a group by. Okay. We will do more questions on that. As much as possible, different questions on that. Then only we can get the nerve of it actually, right? But do revise, do the worksheets which I done in the class earlier, do it from your exercise questions of the NCERT book. Little bit of practice will help you get the understanding behind it. Okay. So let's stop here.